Hey, everybody, it's me, Sarah, your Christian forgiveness coach, and you are listening to Forgive Everyone for Everything, Every Day, Right Away, episode number 37, Forgiveness and Toxic People. Now, I'm about to say something that I know some of you may not agree with. So here it is. This is what I have to say. There are no toxic people, there are only our thoughts about them. Now, stay with me here. Here's how I have found this to be true. Let's say you think Jennifer, not picking on Jennifer's, just as an example, Jennifer is toxic. Jennifer's husband thinks she's amazing. Jennifer's mom thinks she's delightful. Well, which one is it? Is Jennifer toxic? Is she amazing? Is she delightful? Jennifer's Jennifer. Everything else is everyone's own individual thoughts about her. So remember, no matter how true our thoughts about someone feel to us, they're still just our thoughts about them. Usually because we do or don't like something that they did. We've got like a rule book on them that they should act in a certain way. And we all do this. We all have rule books for other people because we all think we know what's best for everyone else because of how our brains work. We have to remind ourselves constantly that we don't know what is best for another person. We don't know how they should or should not be acting. If we don't like how they're behaving, it's an opportunity to ask ourselves why. Usually, it's because we want something different from that person. Maybe it's that we want them to stop doing what they're doing so we don't have to feel bad. Maybe it's that we want them to stop doing what they're doing because we think they would be better off if they weren't doing those things. And I've thought about this one a lot. Like, I have a lot of opinions about how other people should behave because I think that their lives would be better if they did something different. If they would just stop using drugs, if they would just stop seeing that particular person, if they would manage their money differently, if they would just do this or that, then they would be better off. And it feels so true and so justified in my brain. And I have to remind myself that no matter what my opinions are, it is not up to me. And I don't know what's best for someone else. And it's kind of a mind trip, at least for me, it is that relationships are just our thoughts about the other person. All of what we think of someone else is not who they are. So if we think about all those different adjectives we use to describe Jennifer or the people in our lives or people on the news or whoever we're talking about, those adjectives are not a description of who they are as a person, but rather our opinion from our brains about their actions. And we can totally have opinions. I have found that it is pretty hard not to, but I can have my opinions and I can even like them and decide to keep them. But if my opinions on how they live their life prevent me from forgiving and blessing them, then I think I'm doing it wrong. If my opinions prevent me from handling all that judgment and giving it to its rightful owner, who I believe is God, then I'm doing it wrong. If my opinions prevent me from loving myself because I'm so stressed out and I'm creating all this mind drama around a situation or a person that's out of my control, then I think I'm doing it wrong. So I've read so many articles about toxic people, how toxic people hurt you, and how you should remove them from your life. And I am offering that people are not toxic and they cannot hurt you. They cannot take you down with them. They cannot make you feel bad about yourself. They cannot control you. They do not drain your energy Only our thoughts about them hurt us. So, again, I'm not saying you can't decide to set boundaries or end a relationship. I'm not saying that at all. I have no problem with that. But deleting people from our life because we're blaming them for how we feel is not the right reason to do so. I want to offer that we clean up our thoughts about the other people. We get honest with ourselves about our reasons for wanting to remove someone from our life. And we like those reasons. We stick to the boundaries that we decide to set. When we don't stick to boundaries, we're hurting ourselves. Speaking from experience, boundaries are for our own physical and mental well being, and the other person does not have to like them at all. You get to decide what work you want to do when it comes to your relationships. I want to offer that there are no difficult relationships. There's just our thoughts about the relationship and us thinking it's difficult. We are challenged by it. It's just a relationship. It's just Jennifer. We add our brains, and that's when things can get messy. So if we think that we have toxic people in our life, or even that we attract what we're calling toxic people, sometimes it may be a sign that we have not learned to set boundaries and or to take care of ourselves in that way. It's not an attempt to control or change another person's behavior. It's a self-care thing to do to set proper boundaries. It can also be a sign that we're pretty tied to our rule book for them. And I truly believe that there's no better work to be done on ourselves than when we're triggered in relationships, like those things that come up for us when we're triggered. And if you're not sure what that looks like and you want to explore it, I highly recommend getting a coach. Such work worth doing. So another way I try to do this is I try to ask myself, what would God say about this person? Would God describe this person as difficult or toxic? The person themselves, not the behavior, the person, the being, the human. What does God have to say about them? And then I compare what I'm thinking about them, and most of the time I find one of two things happening. I've forgotten who I am and I am judging that person. I'm trying to control them. Or I realize perhaps they don't know or have forgotten who they are, which is why they're acting out the way that they are. And that's it. And both are opportunities for growth for me. The first, I need to remember who I am and who God is. And the latter, I need to forgive and bless. All right. Talk to you next time. Bye.